And welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of the Binge Brothers podcast about movie, TV, and everything entertainment. I'm the host, Max Zwach, here on episode 2. It's been a little bit more of a delay from episode 1 than we'd like, but regardless, we're back, and we have, again, with us the amazing, the immaculate Alex Dean. How are you doing, Alex?
Good, man. How's it going, Max?
It's going pretty well. I'm just happy to be back talking about movies and other things, entertainment. And, of course, the infamous, the dirty Kevin Corcoran is also here with us today, rocking his glasses.
Yo, what's good, dude? I mean, my glasses? Wait, what?
Oh, you just are rocking them. You look great.
Oh, I'm rocking the glasses, baby.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm tan. I'm in charge. Got it. I've been lifting lately. So, yeah, dirty Kev. I'm nasty. Let's go. Let's ride.
Full of himself as always. So yeah, there's there's been definitely some bigger releases on streaming service in the last few weeks. So I think for our feature review today, we've all watched Palm Springs, the new Hulu original movie, which we will discuss. But first, we're gonna get into a short off the top topic to discuss about some news basically that come out. And it's about the new, obviously, Tenet is the big talk of when the movie's coming back. When Tenet's going to be the first big, blockbuster film to hit the movie theaters once they're able to reopen, which was supposed to be August 17th this Friday. Then it was supposed to be July 17th, then July 31st, pushed to August 12th now. But there's a report first from IndieWire, then spread out to all the other movie news websites that this movie is going to need gross probably in the ballpark of $800 million just to break even. Kind of going into that, they've reported that when they look at the production budget, which was around $200 to $225 million, and mixed with their marketing budget, which is probably going to be $150 to $175 million, it's around $400 million they're going to be in on this movie before it even hits theaters. It's a huge number, but it's also, when you look at it, it's also like, it's about the same range that probably Avengers Endgame or huge blockbusters like this need to make. But it's also coupled with the fact that right now there's no movie theaters open. If it's the first one to be open, there's going to be social distancing guidelines. People still scared not to go to movies. A lot of factors that are probably going to prevent this from happening. So I'll bring this over to Kevin, who is definitely want to talk about this topic. Is what do you think of that number? And do you think if this is one of the first movies to come out after this whole pandemic, once movie theaters are open, is there any chance it can make $800 million?
This is interesting just because I think the only way you would ever actually, I don't know. I think it's difficult because Christopher Nolan is this type of director who's never going to promote his movie as being like Inception 2. I can only see Inception 2 being the only way that people possibly even go in, because that's one of the, I'd say, most loved films of the entire 2010. So everyone knows Inception, everyone's seen it. So that is one thing. And that also is something that could help it. One thing is that is nice, especially with film now, and maybe making people feel safer in trying to see movies, is word of mouth. With word of mouth, I can say, people find out, hey, you know what, we're not going to spoil anything else, but this is Inception 2. And I can tell you right now, Twitter is the strongest word of mouth. Everything is going by Twitter. So I'd say there is a chance. Now, if I had to give you percent, Max, I would give you a percent of about 25% that it would actually hit that goal if it's released. I don't even know if it's going to be released. We're seeing already sports are just cutting out already. So, with films, we'll see if it even happens. And if it does happen, what kind of precautions are going to be taking. I don't know. There's a lot of things that have changed in the last 2 weeks, Max, since we've talked that I don't think we, kind of expected maybe necessarily, or maybe we did. We turned a blind eye. So, you know what? I'm going to say there's a 25% chance that it even happens.
That it makes $800 million, or that it releases on August 12th?
That it hits $800 million.
Sure. Okay. That number is not bad. Alex, do you have any thoughts around this? Because, I don't know how much you know about box office, but...
Yeah, what's the rush in bringing this out? I don't know. I feel like there isn't a risk for them to hold it back and to wait until at least.
I think the risk might be that. I think the risk is that there's a lot of movies that it might start having to compete with, which might take box.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's just unprecedented time. Obviously, I mean, because if everything's normal, this whole summer goes as planned, I mean, obviously it'll be facing that competition, but it also would have had its full marketing push heading into the release that would have been this Friday. I think it definitely could have gotten to 800, even $1 billion gross in a regular market, just because. I mean, Inception. I just pulled up. Christopher
He's
Nolan
a huge
has.
name. I mean,
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan, like common people, not us, the common goers know who Christopher Nolan is. They really
100%.
do.
I mean, he's one of the only people who actually his movies are almost always, making money. I mean, you look at Inception. I'm trying to pull up the official numbers. It's really weird that's not coming up, but Inception, I believe, made in the ballpark of $800 million. It might have even been a little bit more, and that was also an expensive movie, which was obviously.
I wonder where it's at now, post everything. Like it's been 10 years and people still buy it. Like.
Oh
like
yeah, I mean that movie is
that
that movie has made tons over the years from all those ancillaries, even like Dunkirk, which in a time where war movies aren't, making hundreds of $1 million usually, they can be successes, but $150 million war movies, which Dunkirk was, it made, I believe, 450 to 500 million in that ballpark, which broke even and even made them some money. So like, he takes these ideas from movies and his name propels them forward. My thought is, I also agree that there's probably a small chance that this could hit 800 million right now. But what I've been hearing is, since these theaters that are opening, it's going to be tiered. So like around me right now, I have one chain of theaters open called Imagine Theaters. They're all showing old movies right now. I've gone to a few. I saw Lord of the Rings 1 and 2, and I saw Empire Strikes Back yesterday, which has been fun. But they're following these guidelines. But that's all that's open. AMC isn't opening till the 31st, and then California and New York are still going to be closed. They're trying to do a release if it comes out. If they don't push it, which I think they should push it. If they don't, where it's almost like a territorial thing where it'll come out in all theaters possible. And then a week later, once theaters in New Jersey are open, they'll release there. It'll keep playing for months, almost like it used to do back in the 80s and 90s when it was a completely different box office market. And because worldwide, a lot of countries are in positions where they can safely reopen theaters like nationwide for those countries, like in Europe. China, Australia. I mean, there's some countries that are seeing resurgences just like us, but it's definitely a question mark. I think that's the only chance if it gets like a 6-month push where it's one of the only premiere movies. But if it's getting that push, then other movies are going to continue to open. So,
can I or Alex? Do you want to make a point?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I just have a hard time seeing. I think people like us will go and see this. I just have a hard time seeing like the casual, especially like older people. I think that's a huge demographic of people that do go see movies still.
Yeah.
Like retired people. I just don't see them getting out of their house right now a month later. Especially with like you see a lot of states they have upticks in COVID now, like southern states and like a lot of other states too. So I just don't know.
California, the biggest market. I mean, they just completely shut down all indoor activities in the last 2 days. They had some theaters opening and now they're closed. Here's
another thing. And this is an entirely new conversation, but can the movie theater industry itself survive?
Great question.
Only doing something like that, because it seems like it's becoming a thing where right now a lot of people are becoming almost normalized, comfortable with. I was just on the phone with somebody who's like, I don't really go out. We just kind of stay in and watch everything.
I know. I think Amazon's going to control our lives, man. They're going to end up buying AMC for pennies on the dollar.
I've thought about that too. Amazon buying AMC.
Well,
I'm not even. It's been very much rumored. I think that's probably a good move, just because AMC is so in debt that Amazon, a company like that, can keep going for 2-3 years and take on a huge debt and won't even affect them at all. So what did happen was AMC, who they've been talking about being close to bankruptcy for a few months now. They were to push it off, and now they just had a debt restructuring deal made that will delay anything like super negative really towards at least spring of 2021. So AMC, which the movie industry can't effectively work as it is today without AMC. It'll be safe until that time. But, I mean, still the question is, what's it going to look like when it reopens? I mean, I understand they'll do these older movies, but there's not a lot of people going to them. I just don't know what they're going to do until as a country there's like a really good grasp on COVID, really.
Yeah, but at the same time, man, like everyone's walking outside with masks. People were feeling really safe with masks. I honestly think if they promote it as being and AMC would have to be, and all these companies have to be on, in with this.
They announced the masks are required.
This is the beginning of film being back, baby. Like almost in that sense. It's not like, I don't know, something in that you got to promote it like that. You got to shoot it like that just because it's like this. That's, this, and that's what they're trying to promote. This is like the becoming of the new era of the movie theater experience. COVID-19, I read an article today, changed everything for, if anything changed, it's probably for good. It's not going to it's going to be a while before we ever go back to the days of pre-COVID. So, you just got to think, I don't know. It's got to be something. I always thought to myself, when the bar's open, I thought everyone's going to like party and go crazy. But it still doesn't feel the same. Bars are open. We're not really necessarily partying.
Maybe not in Chicago, but in a lot of other states they are. And so.
Yes, that is a good point. I don't know.
There's so many different factors.
Oh, man.
It's like we aren't going to be able to fix it or call what's going to happen. But this is about as in depth as we're going to be able to discuss it. So, Alex, unless you have any final thoughts, that's probably a good
I think we summed it up.
cap on the discussion right now. It's going to be an ever-changing situation. So, I'm sure we'll talk about it next week and going forward as we learn new things. If Tenet gets
conversation has my heart rate up.
Well, then mission succeeded.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, let's get into our feature review of Hulu's newest original movie, Palm Springs. Palm Springs, from debut director Max Barbacow. Max, great name there. Starring Andy Samberg and Christian Melody. It's about when carefree Niles and reluctant maid of honor Sarah have a chance encounter at a Palm Springs wedding. Things get complicated as they're unable to escape the venue, themselves, or each other. This is Palm Springs, a little romantic comedy. Very, interesting movie here. Groundhog Day type feel. I'm going to go to Alex Dean first. What are your thoughts on the movie? Did you like it, love it, hate it, dislike it, or was it just okay?
No, I loved it. It was fun. It's just a fun movie. Don't take it too serious. It's a fun, dramedy. It is. It's There's a lot of comedic humor in it. I will say I thought Andy Samberg did a really good job. He's not like the typical Andy Samberg. I felt like there's some like quirky things he does. But Kristen Melody, am I saying her name right?
Christian Melody, yes.
Yeah, she was great. She was amazing in it.
I think she was the standout to me.
Yeah, she was so good. She was everything I wanted to be in How I Met Your Mother. I am so disappointed at how they portrayed her. Like, I think she's a great actress, and she had a terrible role in that. But yeah, what's his name?
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. Like
his
also voice,
supporting role, so good.
Soothes me. That whole storyline is so good. I don't want to spoil anything yet, but
sure, yeah, we'll let's try not to, at least for maybe for a minute or two we'll discuss spoilers. For right now, not talk about anything spoiler-ish. Kevin, your initial thoughts? Are you in the same boat as Alex and me? I do love it as well. I'll just say that now. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, man. For me personally, and I'm actually was texting Lindsay here. Let me text her to make sure. I wanted to get her thoughts. She watched it with me, so. I'll let you guys know this. It's a movie you want to watch with the girl, I'd say.
Yeah.
Definitely something that's it was something that was really good for this time. I thought there was a lot of really good, funny, random humor in it.
Yeah.
You got that kind of, he's got almost like that modern day, almost Adam Sandler feel to it, I guess, with just how Lonely Island is starting to brand itself to me personally. I thought there's some really cool shots. Anytime they showed them together in the pool, I thought that was a really cool shot. They always kind of did it from like up top, which was always kind of, different, especially with them being in a desert. And I think it was just, I don't know, just like how it looked for the eyes. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, could I say 90 minutes is like the perfect amount of time for a show.
Yes,
it was perfect. Yeah.
Yes, we started at like 8:30, I think, last night.
It's great. It just you got everything they needed out there. There's no fillers. They didn't feel like they were dragging on. Yeah.
Honestly, you're right. You're right. It almost seemed like they created like a world almost.
What was that movie we watched with?
Yeah, so I was gonna say recently there's been comedies which I've liked, but like have been definitely held back by being 2 hours plus, which King of Staten Island.
That was the one. Yeah.
Which overall I liked, but it was definitely too long. Eurovision on Netflix. We did.
We all watched it together.
Yeah.
And it just Alex asked about 3 times.
Eurovision on Netflix, which I thought was pretty good, but way too long as well, which I watched with Kevin. So this was definitely fit into that tight 90 minutes, which could be so perfect for a comedy. I mean, some can be longer if it calls for it, but this was perfect 90 minutes. I just liked, so first off, I liked how starting in, it wasn't like explain all like, oh, this is how this happened, this is how that happened. It just jumps in. Andy Samberg is living day after day in this life of living the same day, wedding over and over again. And which kind of differentiates from Groundhog Day or other types of movies like this. And I thought there was a lot of stuff that was really funny, but I appreciated how Andy Samberg, who I love kind of almost his absurdist type comedy in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Pop Star and Hot Rod. I think he's great in those, but he was almost dialed back and it was much more serious, I suppose, in this than other roles. And like, there's obviously some really good comedy here, but I thought it was more effective.
There's some gut wrenching scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's some freaking scenes. Like, see, it's a very good. Like, it was good because I don't think it's spoiling anything by saying it's something that is just like a perspective, almost kind of a movie.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. Like, it
makes you realize, like how good we got it almost today. Like, even with everything going on, how good life can be. So, I don't think that's a spoil.
No, I'm not really sure how you'd spoil anything. I just think, like, even today specifically, like, with the last 3 months being majorly most people are staying indoors, quarantining, self-isolating.
Watching Ozark, getting depressed from Ozark.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's just like, it's obviously we're not living the same day over and over again, but it can seem like that when we're living at home every single day for months on end, which is basically what this movie is. I don't know. I just thought the chemistry was off the charts with Christian Milioti. I think she was probably the standout in this, as well as really great supporting role as J.K. Simmons, who I love in everything he's in. This one it's my favorite movie of the year. I've decided that. It's my favorite movie of the year so far. Yeah, and I haven't loved a lot of movies this year yet. I mean, I've really liked a lot that I've seen, but I haven't loved everything. There's probably like 5 movies I really love. So yeah, this is probably the standout for me. It just hit me in all the right ways. This movie that really tailors to me. So yeah, I'm really high on it right now. I want to watch it again. So that's not a lot of movies I want to watch.
Hey, find a girl, Zwach. That's Kevin's advice.
Ask her out to
I'll try, Kevin. There you go. You got one.
I'll tell you guys what. You bring him to Alex's. That girl's gonna date you. You're gonna just tell Alex, let your apartment out for her.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously though, I do want to also point out one thing is that like there are some scenes even in this that is kind of like it does add like almost like a dark aspect. Like it's a movie that gives you a lot of range of like emotions almost. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just kind of how we're feeling in COVID too. It's like what Zwach was saying before too. It's just you can like kind of resonate some way with the anxiety and the anxiousness feeling.
Yeah. It's like also
you
like
eventually just accepts it and succumbs to it and drinks a lot. It's like I can relate. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do wish they did a little bit. And I'm not spoiling. But I do wish they went a little bit more into his background personally.
Yeah, they really didn't talk about it. Yeah. They kind of talked about hers a lot.
It was a lot about her. I like the way how they like, I think my favorite part of it was like in the beginning of the movie, I'm like, okay, what? And then it starts adding the puzzles later to it. I like when books do that, when they kind of put you in the middle of something, not telling you any background with it. And then with this, like you found more information, like you had breadcrumbs essentially through this entire movie, which was cool. I like the way that info was put.
They weren't holding your hand the entire time.
Exactly. I like how they switched between perspectives too. That was something that was a new layer to me. I thought it was just like a unique movie. Like I remember Lindsay goes, Groundhog's Day, like everyone else here, but it's not necessarily Groundhog's Day. It's something that's it's a very unique movie. I don't remember a movie being put out in a way like that, I guess.
Also very differentiating, like where there's 2 people in the loop together instead of just the one. So I mean, like, what is life like? What do you do when you have one other person you can spend every day with that keeps repeating, and you're the only 2 people that are repeating this over and over again? I mean, and you see, the hilarious, some of the montages of like what the first like few days and weeks of the shit that they kind of do together that are kind of absurdist to set people up just because they know how things are going to happen, how people will react that was definitely probably one of the best montages in the show. Kind of similar to Happy Death Day, the montage where she kills herself. I love that one too. I thought that one's hilarious. Happy Death Day to You. I don't know. I just love the
grind. It was in the wedding too. The wedding aspect adds another. It adds like there's so much that happens with a wedding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that you kind of just Oh, some of them were extremely hilarious, like random as hell. Like it almost seemed I don't know. It was some really, really, really like almost dumb scenes randomly, but like dumb comedy scenes and smart comedy. Like, and again, that just brings it back to the thing of it just almost has everything to it. Like, just and maybe that's just how Andy Samberg is. But there were sometimes I laughed, like I'm bursting out loud, laughing over stupidity, and then sometimes I thought, oh, that was a clever, really clever joke. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. That's how I like it. It wasn't just like dumb. It wasn't, it was just. So to me, it was a good 8 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely like Lonely Island. Looking at them, probably their most adult comedy, more like most mature, while also having like some of the classic comedy. I mean, there's a moment which is a spoiler, so I'll just kind of mention it when like something's revealed about Kristen Melody, her character is why she's waking up in the position she's in every day, and it clicks and you see like, oh my gosh, so this is what the position is she's in every day and what she has to deal with over and over again. It's like, damn, it's dark, and it's like
It's heavy.
having to like basically relive every day like a big mistake or something you regret constantly and having to go over and over again. I mean, there's just a lot of some of the themes and there's everything like that, just like how sometimes things can feel meaningless and you just want to give up. Like it was just really awesome and inspiring, and like I don't know, I just really liked it a lot.
Something really needed. Yeah. It was something that was really good. I needed one really. I remember watching. Yeah. I don't know. Anything? What about you, Alex?
I was just thinking,
thoughts?
Where did this director come from? Because I would agree, Kev. This was really well shot. The pacing was really
100%.
well done. The screenplay was good too. I don't know if you had any.
Sure. Yeah. So his name again is Max Barbaco. Really, really great guy. His name is Max. Yeah. So he has not directed a feature before. He's directed like I think 10 shorts or something like that.
Yep.
And gosh, I'm trying. So screenplay was by a guy named Andy Ciara. So he did not write it as well. I'm not sure about that writer. It was definitely smartly written. I'm just looking it over, and it's not a lot of.
I'm just glad that Hulu is giving some new guys some credits. They're reaching out, trying to try new things. I appreciate that.
Really smart buy. They bought this out of the Sundance Film Festival in January.
Oh, they did. Okay,
One of the basically the last big film festival that was able to go on before COVID hit. For a record,
they're following like the Amazon route. Like Amazon has been kind of known like to buy like as like originals. They bought like they bought Manchester by the Sea, which was huge back in the day.
And they have an official studios, like at Hulu's they've produced some but also bought some. Like they bought Big Time Adolescence with Pete Davidson.
Yep.
Good. So this actually sold for a record. That is good.
Alex, you need to see that.
I saw it. It was good.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it for me. It's I grade movies A+ to F. A+ is perfect. Basically, it's an A for me. So not perfect, but it's just about there. 4.5 out of 5. My favorite movie of the year. Alex, final thoughts, grade.
Final thoughts. Yeah, great movie. Enjoyed it. I wouldn't give it that high, but I'd say 4. B+.
A-, sure.
It's a good one.
So
8 out of 10.
Equivalent. I go by 10, so 8.
Oh, I love that we all graded differently, baby. No, that's perfect. So that's our first official review on the Binge Brothers podcast, Palm Springs. All of us recommend this movie. On Hulu, if you have a Hulu subscription, paid or with ads, it's available. So check it out.
Watch with your girlfriend. Bring your girlfriend in the room. She'll love it.
Or by yourself.
Or by yourself.
It's still really good.
Yeah. I watched it with my dad, and we enjoyed it a lot too. Yeah. So we have a little bit of time left, and before we kind of go into our weekly recommendation of us, I'll quickly throw a shout out to another movie I watched, which is another Netflix original movie which just came out called The Old Guard, starring Charlize Theron. It is based on a comic book movie, but it's not your typical comic movie. It's basically about a group of immortals who have been living over and over again. They can survive almost like Wolverine-esque, where they take injuries, but they just regurgitate their bodies, however you speak. They've been alive for hundreds of years, and basically they're just kind of fighting a group that has just found out about their existence. Kind of an action. It's a comic movie, but not a superhero movie, I would say. Definitely more grounded, and even though there's like these like otherworldly like beings with these abilities. They don't have superpowers. They're just immortal. And I really liked it. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing, but it was a really good time. The action is really well done. A lot of great, hand to hand with like old, like awesome, like battle axes and also gunplay, not as good as John Wick, but the action is very John Wick-esque in a way, which was definitely exciting for a Netflix original movie, which aren't always great. And I love Charlize Theron. She's great in everything. And overall, it's just a really good, solid movie. I definitely recommend it. The director was Gina Prince Bythewood. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. She directs it really well. I don't know. It was just a perfect case of like giving us a lot, but not over explaining things and also setting up things for the future. So I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's probably about like a B plus for me. Really solid action movie, not amazing, but it's also sets up possible sequel, which would be really cool, but not also while also containing its own story.
Yeah, Zwach, you were talking about Netflix movies not being very good. Is this the best received Netflix movie so far? I see it on Rotten Tomatoes, 82.74. I can't think of a better received Netflix movie or straight Netflix.
No, I mean it's well reviewed, but it's not like a critical acclaim of like an Academy Awards where they've had movies be nominated for Roma, Marriage Story, The Irishman. Okay, I really love the Coen Brothers movie that they made. Oh, gosh, it's slipping my mind.
Oh my God! Yeah. That's the Buster Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is probably my favorite Netflix movie just because I love the Coen Brothers. So that's kind of to me. In their action movies, like that's kind of where it's hit and miss. Like in their like comedies and action type movies, like they have like one really good rom-com called Always Be My Maybe. Not a whole lot of other ones besides some crappy Adam Sandler movies. I think in action movies, like there's this, which is really solid, and there's also Bird Box was okay, pretty decent, not great.
It had
Bird Box, but it was huge though.
It was a huge release. Like Bird Box was a success. Yeah, they just actually announced they're gonna be doing a sequel to Bird Box on Netflix, so which makes sense. I mean, it was a huge hit for them. But yeah, I mean,
you want to talk about movies that are struggling or production companies struggling to do anything? Disney has been doing during this entire thing. Disney, I think, has been falling so flat on their face, and it's been showing. No new content. Hamilton received a lot of criticism, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
I've only heard amazing things about Hamilton. So
on just a lot of those piece of shit people on Twitter, like fake.
That's probably what it is. Like I haven't seen any of that. Maybe you're following some shitty people because I've only seen people loving it. I haven't watched it myself, so I don't really have an opinion. But
yeah, I was fortunate to see it in theater, and it was incredible.
That's really cool.
The original cast, but
yeah, I'm really excited. I'm gonna watch it at some point, so. Maybe once I watch it, I'll give my quick thoughts, but I'm excited to watch it. I'm not sure. So yeah, we've got about 10 minutes left here in the show. After getting through that, I think we'll get into a recommendation from each of us, whether it's a movie, TV show, podcast, video game, whatever you like. I'll shoot over to Kevin first to recommend something to everybody watching the show.
Okay, well, I always want to recommend True Detective Season 1, but that's just because, whatever. But I'm going to go into a different one. I actually do recommend so I just finished Succession, finally, Season 2.
I've heard so many things, man.
Succession is it's the best, it's the most well-made, I think, show on HBO. Everything you see there is legit. Like, it's they don't fault anywhere with it. It's the writing, the state, like, wherever they're, like, the locations are just phenomenal. The character development, you hate the people, you love the people, then you hate them, and it's something that's just so dramatic. It's such a great show. I recommend it. Just finished Season 2. Great last episode there too as well. And then I also have one more I want to recommend. I want to recommend The Boys Season 2 teaser. The teaser is out there.
Oh, yep.
It is phenomenal. It looks awesome. The Boys looks like I think they must have had some insane success. I didn't really look into it, but I know I just feel like it's going to be – that's an Amazon movie you can't miss, I feel like.
Kev, you stole mine. That was my recommendation. I just season 2, so I was going to talk about Season 1. It's
We'll talk
so
about-
good.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean,
No, it's amazing. Like you had recommended it like the last podcast. You talked about it was the show you liked on Amazon Prime, Zwach. And I was like, okay, let me give it a shot because I'm not like a super. I know everyone's gonna hate me. I'm not into the Marvel movies. It's not my thing. They're kind of cheesy for me. This is so like dark and like.
Oh yeah.
This is Alex. This is Alex kind of.
It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It paints these guys. Well, you see what happens when people are given power and you're not. They have no one. There's no authoritative figure to like hold them back. That really does go share. Like it paints like how society can actually be if somebody is given like.
If this actually happened.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a great show.
You just watched it?
I just watched it. I binged it.
Oh, that's awesome!
That's awesome.
I literally
watched
just
last
binged it.
year.
Yeah, I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, season 2 comes out I think September 4th. The
September 4th,
first 3 episodes come out, and then it'll be week to week for the rest of the season, which I'm really excited for. I think that's a great strategy for Amazon. It worked well for Mandalorian. I think that's how streaming platforms should go moving forward, is week to week to get people to keep talking about a show.
Twitter.
Yeah, and the trailer for season 2 looks bonkers. If you've watched season 1, you know how it ends. So there's a lot of places it's going to go, and I can't wait. I definitely can't wait for the show as well. I'm talking about Kevin's recommendation, Succession. That's my favorite show on television. If it continues at the pace it is and the level of amazingness that Succession's at, it probably will become my favorite show of all time. If it continues this pace that it's at, I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazingly funny in a weird way, but also like extremely like the dramatics of it works perfectly.
It's almost Preacher done better.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Preacher, no, but
so it's like a comic book that was made, and Seth Rogen essentially took it over and kind of it's like that kind of dark comedy, kind of weird.
I feel like it has Watchmen vibes. I think it pulls a lot from that.
Yeah,
sure.
Dude.
Weird because I almost
the tone of it is also just insane to me. I don't know.
Tone? Yeah, no, it's almost indescribable. I just watched Sopranos, the entire series, for the first time, and I almost relate it to Sopranos, where it's like almost like this mob family, but it's a corporation, and showing how terrible these corporations can be and the heads of these corporations. It's also loosely based apparently on the Murdoch family who runs Fox and that whole giant corporation. So, I mean, it's not explicitly, it's obviously its own story, but I mean, it takes certain ideas from like real life, obviously.
Well, Max and Alex, any new movie, anything besides that, anything else you guys?
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about this. This is a lot like The Boys. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for Project Power. It looks
Is that the Netflix movie? Is it the Jamie Foxx one?
Yes, Jamie Foxx,
Jordan
Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, it's like a mix between that and The Boys and Limitless. It looks insane. It looks so good. I'm really excited for that.
I need to check out the trailer for that because I saw it just released as I was kind of looking over some things. I will get to my recommendation quick, and I'm doing this specifically to make Kevin happy or mad, depending on the way you look at it. And I recommend one of my most overlooked movies from last year. It's on HBO, I think, for a few more weeks before the end of this month, and it's Long Shot, starring Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron. I've watched this movie probably 5 or 6 times. It's about Seth Rogen. Basically, he's a writer who just lost his job, and he meets Charlize Theron, who we grew up with, and who is Secretary of State now. And she's looking for speechwriters as she's about to head into her campaign for presidency. And so it's basically how they reconnect, and he starts writing speeches for her and blossom into possibly a relationship. I find it very
that entire thing in steps. It's great.
All right, Kevin, let me talk for just a minute more. I think this is extremely funny. It makes me laugh constantly because Seth Rogen just gets me. The way he just, like, certain things he says in conversation, not even like punchlines, I think are just hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think Charlize is one of my favorite actors working today. So the pairing of them is amazing. I think they have great chemistry, and it's one of my favorite romantic comedies, probably the last 3 or 4 years. I give it a huge recommendation, even though Kevin is not quite as high on it.
I've never seen it. I'm going to watch it now.
My girlfriend and I couldn't even finish the movie.
Couldn't even finish it? Well, okay. So Zwach said he watched Eurovision, and you guys actually finished that. That was I'm gonna say it was dog shit. That was awful. I could not sit through that entire.
I gave it a 3 out of 5. I didn't think it was amazing. It was like a C++.
That was not good.
I hated Will Ferrell's character. I remember thinking that.
Oh yeah, he was the worst part of it. The best part of it was Rachel McAdams.
Yeah,
who I love Rachel McAdams, but
why is Rachel McAdams doing that kind of a film?
God, True Detective season 2. What could have been, man? Her and the guy from Friday Night Lights. Yeah,
it wasn't that bad.
Vince
Vaughn. I like.
It was just
Vince
season 1 had such high expectations. It was just
season 3 is the best season. So.
Oh, those are fine.
Okay, yeah, we got some talking to do.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, you want? All right, I'll give you a 30-second take on that. Season tech. Here's the thing, Alex. Didn't we both agree that we thought like the last few episodes were pretty fucking great, but like it was like the first episode was good, then second episode was like. Season 3 is like, no. Then the third episode is like, okay. 4 is like, what? Give us a bone here. Like, what's going on? He's old.
I feel like the payoff wasn't big enough for like what they're trying to make it out to be.
Yeah.
For me, season 1 just like hit it. They nailed it. Or just I don't know. At the end, you're so excited for it. But third, they kept talking about his or dementia or whatever he had. And they kept talking about it.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it just hit on all that, the things they do regarding that dementia at the very end of it. And also, I love how they hinted that it was going to be connected to that, first season, that murder, the same, cycle. And I love that it didn't. And it was basically just a random guy. And I think that it was a different story. And I like that it just showed that not everything is connected, even though it looks that way. And yeah, I probably need to give both of them a rewatch to affirm that up. But I mean,
that's
definitely,
a good point. I think I can do the same thing.
I definitely had I find that more memorable than season 1, outside of season 1's amazing one shot that Matthew McConaughey does. So, with that being said, we're almost out of time. So let's give a final words for the episode. Again, my name is Max Zwach. You can follow me on Twitter at ZwachMax, ZWACH. Alex, where can they find you?
Just don't, because I don't post anything. But I think I'm Alex.
He's fine.
SS Dean or something.
And Kevin, where can they find you at?
Just 3 Jobbers, Twitter, and then also find me at, I think it's Mr. Kevin Corcoran, not sure. I also have a YouTube, Just 3 Jobbers Pod, Just 3J
Hello. Productions,
baby. Follow me and subscribe.
Fantastic. We'll see you next week on the Binge Brothers. Bye.
Bye.